Want to be a better podcaster? Education, practice, and commitment are key. But becoming truly successful at podcasting requires uncomfortable amounts of trust in one key person, yourself. Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. There are a lot of unknowns when it comes to podcasting. Without getting too poetic about things, we swim in a sea of uncertainty as we navigate these podcasting waters. All right, enough metaphors. But, what metrics can we believe in? Uncertainty. What promotional efforts are really going to do it for our program? Uncertainty. Whose advice can we rely on as podcasters? Once again, uncertainty. Uncertainty. Now, me personally, I have a bias towards action in uncertain situations. That's my normal default way of doing things that I've learned in the decades I've been running businesses out there. But that doesn't mean that I always act rashly. Sometimes I certainly do. And also doesn't mean that I choose from the list of options that are available to me. I don't believe that those are my only choices. I can always do something else. But it does mean that I trust myself as a podcaster, as a business person, as a human being. I've got great trust on me. You might call it ego and hubris, whatever else, but trusting yourself is super important. So let me expand on that. There's a phrase that I think sums this up nicely, and it is simply this: trust in the you of now. Trust in the you of now. Now, let's break that down. And this will relate to the podcasting world, I promise you that. So the first element is trust. We got to have trust. Trust is really key, and it means a lot. It's a small word that has a lot of ramifications. But if you really adopt this idea of trust, you can really structure everything you do around trust. A case in point, I used to be the VP at an advertising agency, and we put in trust as our only requirement on our annual reviews. It was 100% about trust. It took a lot of doing to get through, but it was all based on trust. Everything had to do with trust. It wasn't did you perform your job efficiently, whatever else, because all the things boil back down to trust. What trust means is, well, that you accept that this person, and we'll talk about this person in just a moment, is the right person to make the decisions. They may not always make the right decisions, but you have to trust that they're going to do that. It's not your responsibility. And so breaking down the trust in the now, the you of now, starts with that concept of trust. Just accept the fact that this person we're going to talk about in a moment, you, really gets to make these kind of decisions. Now, let's talk about you. We're going to trust you, right? That's who we're trying to trust here. You as a podcaster. You already trust lots of people, right? I mean, you trust people who have been podcasting for a long time, and maybe they go on the air about 7 o'clock in the morning, 4 days a week, just saying. By way of example, you trust the people that write the newsletters that you subscribe to. You have a certain amount of trust in the people that you follow on social media and the education that you take, and you trust your hosting provider and the people who man that to make sure that you're getting the right kind of information. You automatically have to trust a lot of people in podcasting to make it work. You have to trust that your audience will do the things that you ask them to do. So I want you to think about trusting in you itself, yourself. You are also somebody worthy of trust in this podcasting world. But we've got to finish the third part, and that's now. This is trust in the you of now. Because you now are different than you were yesterday. And you're different than you will be tomorrow. And we can make that more extreme. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years out, right? The you of today is distinctly different than it was. Maybe the changes are subtle, but still, it is different. We tend to focus, especially in podcasting, we pay a lot of homage to the history of podcasting and standing on the shoulders of giants and learning from those who come before. And of course, you want to do all of that because those things help make you you. But we really only have now to work with. We can draw on the experiences of you minus day 5. Sure, we can do that. But we really can't do that for you plus day 5. We can't use our future self. We can reference what past self, but it's how we think about our past self. It's really about our current self today. All right, so that's what I mean by trust in the you of now. Let's get to the crux of this argument and really convince you this is truly about podcasting. When you are able to trust in the you of now, a lot of those uncertainties I talked about earlier are going to go away. It allows you to trust that you, right now, are the best person to make decisions about your podcast. Because the reality is, many podcasters like to have things like case studies and who else is doing this, and let's get some other... Those are all fine to do, but look, not everything needs a case study before taking action. Some actions just need to be taken because it's an uncertain world and we'll never get to that certainty. So you as a podcaster have to trust your ability to make the right decisions for your show right now. But also, you should trust in the fact that maybe the person you are right now is not as well equipped to handle that decision as maybe the person of tomorrow. That's fine. You can push the trust out, but only if you trust you of today, you of right now, to get the education you don't have to make that decision. You just can't assume it's going to happen. Knowledge doesn't flow from on high down. You have to go seek it. So if you really do trust that you today are incapable of making the decision, you need to put some things into action so that you can make that decision tomorrow or whenever it needs to be made. But you have to trust in yourself right now to do that. Trust also means, at the basis, that you won't let yourself down. You're trusting in yourself today to not let yourself down. Now that doesn't mean you're not going to fail, right? I mean, if I could do a trust fall, you know what a trust fall is, right? When you fall backwards and trust the person behind you will catch you. Look, if I did that with my 2-year-old granddaughter, she would not be able to catch me. We would fail at the trust fall. Was I wrong in putting my trust in her? Well, no. I was putting trust in her for something that she was physically unable to do. That's not a trust issue. That's just a bad decision issue, right? So make sure that you're setting yourself up to fail for the things that are okay, and make sure that you're putting the trust in yourself to do things that you know you actually can make those decisions and can do. See, once you've actually learned to trust the podcaster who you are today, a lot of that uncertainty really falls away, which lets you get back to making amazing content for your podcast, which is really what it's all about, right? 2 quick things before I go. If you like the concept, even weird ones like this, go to buymeacoffee.com/evoterra and sign up to become a member. A couple of bucks is always nice. And most importantly, please tell someone that you know who is a podcaster about podcast pontifications. The only way podcast pontifications grows is when a working podcaster like you tells another working podcaster about the show. So please tell them about podcast pontifications. That's it for a Thursday. I do not do episodes on Friday, as you know, so enjoy that day plus the weekend, and I shall be back on Monday with yet another podcast pontifications. Cheers!